Everybody, give it a round of applause. Here we go. Violins fall.
Oh, Neoluthy, but yeah. Hello. Can you hear me well? Okay. Oh, I did a presentation just like 10 minutes ago, so I'm a little off right now. But basically, I'm Daniel Cucasan. I'm from Colombia, and I created a project that's called Neoluthy. The project name is basically, I don't know if this works. Yeah, Neoluthy. Ooh. So the project name is because it's luthery, but new luthery. And it started because I wanted to do something with 3D printing. As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this has so much potential to do so much things, but I don't know what to do. So at the time, I had a friend that played guitar professionally, and I told him like, hey, why don't we try to create a guitar, maybe a 3D printed guitar? We're like, yeah, that's a good idea. There are so many things inside the guitar, like so many details and things that affect the sound. I was like, yeah, let's go. And I tried to do that, and I went to the market and I saw, oh, how much does it cost to have a 3D printer that big? Okay, let's try some other thing. So I scaled down, and I was like, okay, maybe a violin could be a good idea. So that happened about around 10 years ago. I had the idea, around. And 3 years ago, I finally was able to get a 3D printer. So, that's another thing. But I finally was able to get a 3D printer. It was a small Prusa that this was built with small pieces and things. I can show you. This is the picture, kind of the picture of the 3D printer. Super small, but was enough to get me some idea on how to 3D print and how to slice and everything on 3D printer. So it was super cool. Was this the thing that got me really engaged with the thing. Just as a quick recap, I forgot a couple of things. So I checked who else had done that, who else had tried to build a 3D printed violin. And there are 3 projects that already had done that. So there is Hovalin, that's an open source one. Aviva, that's a university kind of driven violin. And there is 3D Various also, that it's a whole company. They have super good looking violins, but I'm going to go for each one of them and say what I try to be different with, what's different within them and me, just because. So Hovalin, in my opinion, doesn't sound good. I think that's a biased opinion, but it doesn't look as good, and it's like a started violin for kids, but it's not really a nice violin. Like, you don't look at it and like, yeah, it looks amazing. I don't know, it has like this edge, and that part is a solid piece, and it plays with the sound in a not good way. The second one is from a girl from university. I want to meet her at some point. I think that's the best one of them. But as far as I know, they work with resin 3D printing. And resin 3D printing is not that easy to do, just because getting a printer that big is expensive and it's hard, and like getting the full reliability of every time you do a 3D print, getting a full product, a really good product, is not that easy. And 3D Various are just electric violins, and I don't like them, personal opinion. So what did I do? I tried doing plate spheres. So I said, okay, so I'm going to do a single piece at the plate from the top. I'm going to do another piece at the bottom, another one that were the sides, and then I'm going to try to do things. And didn't work. Just because it was too complex to model it in a way that was stable, and I was able to do the print a lot of times. So I went for a single piece body. So, that's the design right now, but basically this whole piece is a single 3D printed piece. And that allows me to not have variation, have that much variation between prints, right? Because I don't touch anything on this. It just prints, and that's the body. I have to just clean a couple of things, but the body is there. So I did that. I did a small test with the smaller 3D printer, so it was like a half-size violin, not a half-size on the musical board. It's just scaled down to half the size. That's a long video, so I'm gonna maybe speed it up a little. Not gonna let me do that, maybe. Okay. So basically, it was successful. I was able to 3D print the whole body in a single piece vertical. I was like, okay, that might work. That might be the way to do it. Do you want to see the full video, or do you want me to continue? Continue, or say it? Yeah, okay. So this is my small 3D printer. It wasn't that reliable. It was built with 3D printed pieces and had the small issue that the vertical axis tried to always went boop. So sometimes my violins were like boop, and it wasn't good. But it did work. It really, really worked, and I don't know, it was amazing also getting this video. It took around 2 days to print because I hadn't figured out some settings that I wanted to, I needed to improve the speed, but it worked. Yeah. 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 And one of the issues with printing this way, with this kind of printer, is that the bed moves. So if you have a tall piece, it tends to like wobble. And that's not good because you need super good precision. And that's going to be an issue in the next part. But it worked. It worked good enough. I wanted to be super good with the precision, so I wanted the surface to be super smooth, so I had a 0.1 millimeter layer height, and that didn't help with the time, obviously, because, yeah, right now I changed that. I've done so many adjustments. Yep.
What were your considerations for printing top to bottom instead of? What were your considerations printing from bottom to top instead of it lying down?
So the advantage of doing this is that I don't need that much support. If you print it sideways, there is 2 issues. So the first one is that the bed has to be big enough, and you get taller 3D printers easier than wider 3D printers sometimes. Well, in my experience, the ones that I have played around with, maybe more big in the tall and the z-axis than the x and y. But that's an idea that I have played around. Like I want to maybe do it in the future, but for now this works. So if it works, don't touch it. But yeah. Also, there is a small things that I had to do. So if you see on this part, on the bottom of the Fs, this small thing is floating. So there is no way to print this in there. So I had to start playing around, adding small supports that were easily removable, but that worked to support this. And also, because my printer wasn't that reliable, that's nice. Sometimes it was catching with the supports, and it dropped the whole print to the bed. It was like, Also, so inside the violin there are 2 things that you don't always see. One of them is I don't remember the translation, but basically a bar that goes bottom to top in the surface of the violin. So imagine like from here to here, there is a small bar that helps with the resonance of low frequencies. And also there is a sound post that goes from this plate to this plate. So in the beginning, the thing that I did is I just added the bar to the print. Because usually what luthiers do is they have their plate, they add the thing, and then they close up the violin. But because I have the thing fully done in a single piece, there was no way for me to add that part. So I just added it to the model, and it was an advantage because, well, reduces variability and also increases the connection because it's a single piece. Yeah, I do not have any gaps, anything. I want to check with someone that actually knows to know if that's a good idea, but for me, it has worked. Yeah, it has like a couple of small supports in the bottom. Oh, in this version, I didn't have anything to hold these parts, so I had to start printing in the air, basically, and then it will kind of mash up together and will work perfectly. Right now, I have something else that allows this to be built from these two pieces, so that's much better. Yeah. Yeah. So you can get multiple like plans, like blueprints of violins, and they tell you like a recommended place for the soundpost. What I want to do is, because I can move it on the model, I want to print multiple variations of the positioning and test around what's the best. Yeah. I just took one of the plans that looked good to me, compared it with the model. I was like, yeah, that's a good place. Yeah, so that one is like this big violin. And if I remember correctly, this is the 100% infill violin, so it's fully solid, like a solid piece of plastic. And I don't know if you've seen luthiers working with plates from violins, but they take it and they start like boom, boom, boom. And if it sounds good, that's like their way of knowing that's a good plate. If not, they just have to start carving. So I was like, I could maybe do the same. I took the thing, I just did boom, and it just resonated. It's like, okay, so I'm on a good way to making a violin. Yeah, started from the air. After this video, I realized that this takes too long, so the next videos that I have of time lapses are way faster. Any other questions while we wait? Yeah?
How long did this take real time?
This one? I think that was 2 days, around 2 days. Yeah, so I don't know if you noticed, but the light went down and up. Was nice. So, yeah.
How about playing it while we watch this?
Well, the next one maybe, because it's almost finished. But yeah, well, that will have been a good idea. Or maybe have music in the background too. The other one has music, so. So, this failed. Because it caught with the... Yeah, and I think in the original video, you can see me running around like, oh no. But yeah, that one failed. Multiple of them failed until the last one. Oh, well, that one also failed. So there's something like called layer slipping, where the belt, and it produces this kind of effect. I don't know if I can show my mouse, maybe. Oh, yeah. So these kinds of effects, like stepping. And I just let it finish because it was like, OK, this is a nice demonstration that it kind of works. I have to tweak some other things, but at least it prints the full thing in one piece. So as soon as I knew that that could be done, I was like, OK, so I need a bigger 3D printer. I don't want to buy a 3D printer because 3D printers are expensive. So what should I do? So I found an Instructables guide on how to build a bigger printer like mine called a Mega Prusa. So that one on the left is my original 3D printer. The one on the right, oh wait, the one on the left, Right. So the one on the right is the original one. The one on the left out was the new one. And I built it following all the instructions and everything, and it had been tested by a lot of people. I was like, okay, this is going to be a good printer, this is going to be amazing. And, well, it wasn't, because the bed was too heavy. So one of the issues with that is, like, if you had it on a table, it will move the table when the bed was moving. So it wasn't that stable. But I didn't want to accept that. I was like, I need to make this work because this is the only way I'm going to create a 3D printed violin, blah, 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 blah. At least it got me this. So this was the first fully like full-size violin. I added, on that part, I added like a connection point between the neck and the body. So that was like the last minutes of the print. I was super, super, super happy. But you can see that it has like small defects on the surface, right? It wasn't that good. And I didn't know why, because I wasn't that good with 3D printing. Like, right now I can maybe know how to fix it, but at that point I didn't know. Also, does it have sound? It made a lot of noise. And I had to work besides that printer, so at work people didn't like talking to me because I had always like a background noise of the printer going. Didn't like it. I was a little janky. And this one had a leaning issue more because it was taller, the torque was bigger and it was like whoop. So this one also had that issue. You cannot see it that much, but trust me, I saw it. It wasn't good. Also, I designed the printer head because it was like, okay, I'm gonna do the whole full thing. I'm gonna design my 3D printer, da 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 da. And that wasn't a good idea because there is people that already have done really good print heads that work much better than mine, and I can just use them. And I didn't thought about that at the moment until I'm gonna go to that part, but until that part I didn't talk about that. And it should have been like a thing that will have me like walking up on the idea of building 3D printers. So that one had also another issue. So the black filament that I used wasn't that good, and I left this model, like the first successful model, I left it at the sun. And it just bloop, warped and didn't work anymore. I was like, oh, I'm so super happy, da 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 da. I was at a meeting and I showed them the violin. They're like, oh, that's cool. And I just left it at the sun. And when I came back, I was like, just done. Wait, that's not, okay, yeah. That also shows, that's real time. That also shows you how long does it take to. Yeah, super janky setup. So at that point, I was working with someone else that was like the project manager. Project management and everything by myself. And and also we moved to a new workshop. So we moved to another place nearby my apartment, and we built another 3D printer that was gonna fail. And I didn't want to accept that, but I was like, so okay, we're gonna change this thing so it doesn't lean that much, and So we used aluminum instructions, and Didn't help, but it was a cool experience overall. So it was nice to try new things. We designed a full box for the electronics and everything, and we 3D printed it with that printer. But it wasn't functional, and this one was heavier, and this table was a little weak, so everything was shaking when the 3D printer was working. So around that point, I think that Martin was at the point where he was like, okay, do I do YouTube videos, or do I create this marble machine? And we went like, oh, that's a good point. Do I create 3D printers, or do I 3D print violins? Right? Like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So why don't I just get a 3D printer that works for this? And I can be sure that it works, and I don't have to fiddle around with a lot of small details. I just get the 3D printer works. So we got one. We got this. This is a Ender 5 Plus. Yeah, Ender 5 Plus 3D printer. The bed doesn't move in the y-axis, so super stable. Doesn't make that much noise as the one on the left. So everything went smooth, and we got the first model that worked. Like, it actually made sound. And that was amazing. Like, okay, this is possible. And it makes really good sounds. It resonates. This is amazing. But it wasn't stable. So the connection between the body and the arm wasn't that good, and it broke. Like a couple of days later, it just broke because of the tension. Ooh. And that got me thinking, like, okay, so what should I do? Should I design the thing from the ground up? What should I? And I just did like, okay, so I've seen some things in architecture that are kind of the same, so I can just do a dovetail thing, and maybe that works. And it worked. Like, it just worked. That model still works, still exists, I think. Or maybe that got warped by the sun too, but there is a model that's blue that works. And I did two of them. So I did the sparkly one and the blue one. And at that moment, I didn't have the sound post between the top and the bottom plate. So it wasn't that stable, and some friend had an opportunity to travel around Colombia, and she went to the Amazonas, and the sound post that we had added, it was like just fitted with pressure, fell. So people from there would help her add the sound post back, and they had like glue. I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work, because if you have to do so much maintenance to the violin, that's not reliable at all for a person that's gonna just go and play. So at that point, I added the sound post, and I also made like the surface inside the violin, so the plate and the sides a little smoother, just to try if maybe that improved the sound. And also, I found out that there was wood fiber PLA. So I got some of that, and I 3D printed a new version that has this one. And it sounded amazing. So this is a similar one to that one. It sounded amazing, and I was super happy it worked. I got some friends, some violinist friends, some people that work on violins and everything. And I told them, like, hey, this is a 3D printed violin. Can you try it? They're like, wow, that's good enough. That sounds cool. Oh yeah. And I did a time lapse because why not? And this is a much better time lapse. You can see the sound post. Bloop. It looks shiny. It looks super cool. You can see the supports that help with the sides. And at that point, the friend that I told you that 10 years ago, guitarist, he was doing his master's degree at San Francisco at the, let me check, Music Conservatorium of Music in San Francisco. And he traveled back to Colombia, and I told him like, hey, I have this 3D printed violin. Take it back. Do whatever you want. If you want to sell it, you have to, I don't know, give it to someone. I don't care. Do something. I just want the violin to be there, just because. So he took it there. And he told me, hey, there's a, I forgot the word, a concurso. A contest inside the university. People from the students can participate. We can get some money to do some things. So can I present the violin? Can I do something with the violin? Like, yeah, sure. I told you, do whatever you want. That's a lot, but do whatever you want. And he took it there, and we won a second. I think it was first or second place. And we got some money, and we did some videos, and we did a lot of things. We did we did a lot of things with that. I'm gonna show you a video from YouTube that we got from that. So, and I don't have internet. Give me a second. I should. I tried to download it, but well, this guy helped us a lot to show the violin to the people there. It was amazing to work with him. Also, he was the one that helped us at the contest to present the violin. And he just took it for a week, got used to the violin, was like, yeah, let's go. And so it was super cool to work with him. I think I have the same thing with this song, like Martin has with the Marble Machine. I have heard it so many times that I'm like a little tired of it, but yeah. No. If you want to see the full video, you can subscribe to Neoluthy in YouTube. Yeah, I'm gonna continue with the presentation. So we did that. Yeah, we did that. We won the award. Later on, there was a second contest that was only for the top 5 people that won on that contest, and we got some good connections to maybe start doing some things in San Francisco. But that's a current story. Like that was a month ago, and then my sister. Well, that's a separate story. My sister lives in the Netherlands, and she moved. Well, she moved to the Netherlands like 3-4 months ago, and I wanted to just visit her, just because. And so we said with some friends, like, hey, let's go to the Netherlands. But wait, if you are gonna go to the Netherlands, we can do like a longer trip. So why don't we go to Paris with a violin? Because why not? And why don't we go to Cremona? So Cremona is like the violin makers' town in Italy. It's like the place. It's the Stradivarius town. And at that place, we met Giorgio Grisales. And that's a funny story, because we got there, we got to the museum, we're like, oh, we have a 3D-printed violin, we want to show it to someone. And they told us, oh, yeah, okay, go to this place around the city center. There is this Argentinian guy that could give you some feedback. And we're like, okay, let's go there. We told him, like, hey, this is a 3D-printed violin. He gave us some ideas, gave us some feedback, and then he told us, but there is a guy that's also a violin maker, that is really good, and he's Colombian. We're like, what? Yeah, he's a Colombian guy, he's just across the street. Go there. That's the entrance. We went there like, hola. We're like, oh my God, you're from Colombia? Yeah, we're from Colombia. Like, what are you doing here? We have a 3D-printed violin. And that was one of the longest and most amazing talks I have had in a long time. And he told us like, hey, yeah, if you want some help, if you want some things, yeah, I can just help you with that. I'm not making violins anymore because of money. I'm making them because of passion. So I have more time if you want to talk. Blah, 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 blah. So we had a really good talk with him. We keep in contact with him, well, a little. And yeah, so that was also a super cool thing. And yeah, that was 3 months ago. Not that much has happened since then, until, well, a couple of days ago, that I finally met Martin. That was also one of the biggest inspirations for me, like to keep going on the project, also to know on what to focus on, also know what should I do with the project, like, yeah, project management and everything. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you. Well, also, I asked you to play it because I wanted to, yeah, like have a live event with this. So, yeah.
I'm going to play a song that hopefully a lot of you might know. I don't know how well the sound's going to be with this since it's right here, so you might want to keep it just a little bit lower.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's one of my favorites. Yeah. Does he want to play one for you, though? And I just want to say, as a violinist, I've been playing for about 15 years. Having just recently, within the past year, buying an antique violin that actually has good sound as opposed to a student violin. Playing this, the sound on this is absolutely amazing, especially for it being a 3D printed piece. The sound is very rich. It's got very good projection and resonance within it. And not just that, I don't know what strings you put on that. What strings do you, if you know?
Yeah. I have the spare ones here, so these ones.
I haven't seen these ones before. I know Prelude are good, which are by the same.
Yeah, they're super good.
Those are the good strings. Those are the good strings that you want. The sound quality is amazing. It's not screechy at all, especially on the higher strings. It's amazing. So absolutely, you outdone yourself.
I'll make sure to give you one as soon as I have the next ones. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so any questions? Anything?
So, did you also print the arm?
Yeah. The arm doesn't have that much on the story. Let me find. Yeah, okay, I can use this one. So the arm is also 3D printed. It has some small details and things, but basically what I did is I split up these in 2 pieces in the middle, and I just printed them side by side. I don't have pictures of it. But basically what that allows me is to have a really smooth surface finish on these, the fingerboard. And also there is a super cool detail on the head. If you want, I can just give it to you.
I have a second question.
Yep.
How does
if you want to pass it around, okay.
How does material properties affect the sound? Like PLA, PETG, wouldn't fill, or whatever?
So that's going to be the next part for us. We're going to build a new model that has better, so that we can play around with it more. It's going to be a parametric model because inspiration, and that will allow us to not necessarily rely on the, not be tied to the material properties, instead to play around the material properties. So take advantage of the imperfections and everything from the material. So yeah.
That's what I also thought. Perhaps it would be interesting to have artists who have certain requirements and then have this put into the individual violin, for example, a thicker or less thick, or perhaps partially hollow. Like everything can change the sound properties. So do you have artists that are interested in giving you input on this?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we have. I didn't catch everything because it was a little too low, but yeah, we have like ideas on customizing the violin a little more on so many things like aesthetics and also the shape itself, to see if maybe it can change the sound of the violin. So for example, I don't know if maybe you know, there are some strings that you can put to a violin to make it 1 octave lower. And they're just amazing. And I want to build a violin that's made for those strings.
So with those strings will make it sound deeper. It will make it sound more like a cello. So it'll have that deeper tone. It won't have the projection of a cello because it's a smaller body, which is why way back, 18th century, 17th century, when violins were being made back then, there were such things as 6, even 7 or 5-string violins that had the full range that you could play, but they went out of style because they didn't have that projection to project the sound. But in today's present time, they're making them again because now we have electric violins, so you can just plug it into the amp and it has the capability to project that sound.
Yeah, but maybe if you can play around with things, I don't know, but maybe you can play around with the properties of the violin, you can make it resonate with lower frequencies. I don't know if that can be done, but I want to be the one that tries. So yeah.
It might be possible with a bigger body.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
it's definitely something to experiment with, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was mentioned already, but what is the estimated production cost of one violin, taking into account the cost of the printer and
Well,
doesn't need to be
yeah.
precise, but just a general estimation with the filament and everything?
So, well, yeah, the 3D printer is not that cheap. That's a problem because we want to bring the violins to more places, and that's a limitation. But excluding the 3D printer, the full thing can be done with strings, bridge and pegs and everything for around €50, around it. I have to check my notes, but it's around that. But there is a couple of things that we want to improve that will make it, well, not that much cheaper, like €5 less, but we want to be able to print a single, 2 violins from a single spool, because right now we use 1 spool per violin, so that's not good. Yep.
No more questions?
Okay, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day. Oh, just in case, you can follow us on neoluthy.com. It has all the links, and a small part of the story is also there, like some ideas that I didn't talk about in here. So, yep.
Thanks. That was a bit loud. Thanks a lot. Very interesting project, and I myself play cello, so it was really interesting to see a violin made from a 3D printer. Very, very interesting project. Next up, we have the engineering team of the Wintergatan Discord coming up, doing a panel discussion. For that, we'll quickly get some chairs and then get the team rolling in 10 minutes for the next panel. Thanks everybody for showing up, and one more round of applause for the 3D printed violin. Very interesting and very educational.